Crowd management is ultimately about making informed choices in situations that can change quickly. In this lecture, we explore the foundations of crowd management. We look at different types of measures and why some work better than others depending on the situation. The goal is to understand how to compare alternative measures and justify choices based on evidence rather than intuition. We also examine how crowd forecasts can give us operational lead time, turning predictions into proactive interventions instead of last-minute reactions. We then connect monitoring, forecasting, and planning into one coherent strategy. Monitoring helps maintain situational awareness, but only if operators know how to interpret signals and adapt measures in real time. By the end, you will see how these elements fit together into a single integrated approach to crowd management. A crowd isn't just a large number of people sharing the same space. It's a dynamic system. Sometimes it's static, like spectators waiting for a show. Sometimes it's moving, like commuters leaving a station. And often it's mixed. Understanding whether we are dealing with a crowd, a flow, or a gathering helps us choose the right measures. A moving flow behaves very differently from a dense stationary group. Crowd management matters because the stakes are high. Overcrowding, bottlenecks, and turbulence can escalate quickly if not managed well. But it's not just about safety, it's also about service quality and user experience. And behind it all are legal and organizational responsibilities. Good crowd management protects people, improves their experience, and ensures accountability. The conceptual model of crowd management is a cycle that guides how we prepare for, operate, and learn from events. It starts with anticipate, imagining what might happen before it does. This is where we analyze demand, weather, transport patterns, and past events to understand where pressure points might emerge. Anticipation is about asking the right what-if questions early. From there, we plan. Planning turns expectations into concrete measures: routing, staffing, signage, barriers, and communication strategy. It's where scenarios are built and tested so the team knows how to respond if conditions shift. Next, we implement the plan on the ground. This is the moment when all the preparation becomes real. Gates open, stewards take position, and the infrastructure is activated. Implementation is about executing the strategy as designed. But once the event starts, reality takes over, which is why we monitor. Monitoring gives us a live picture of what's happening, where crowds are forming, how flows are developing, and whether conditions match the plan. It's the bridge between planning and action. When monitoring shows that conditions are changing, we adapt. This is where operational flexibility matters: opening an extra gate, redirecting flows, adjusting signage, or coordinating with transport partners. Adaptation is what keeps the event safe when reality does not follow the script. Finally, after the event, we evaluate. Evaluation helps us understand what worked, what didn't, and why. It turns experience into organizational memory, so the next event starts from a stronger foundation. Together, these 6 elements form a continuous loop, a rhythm that keeps crowd management proactive, responsive, and always improving. The basic crowd dynamics concepts are density, flow, and capacity. Density tells us how many people occupy a space at a given moment. It's like taking a snapshot and counting how many individuals are in a specific area. The density equals the number of people divided by the area they occupy. High density doesn't automatically mean danger, but it changes how people move and how comfortable they feel. Understanding density is the foundation of all crowd analysis. Flow looks at movement. We look at a cross-section and count how many people pass this cross-section in a short time. The flow equals this number by the time duration of the count. It's the heartbeat of a moving crowd. A corridor might have low density but high flow, or vice versa. Flow helps us understand whether a space is functioning smoothly or starting to strain. Capacity is the maximum sustainable flow a space can handle under safe conditions. It's not just a number, it's a limit shaped by width, behavior, obstacles, and context. When flow approaches capacity, even small disruptions can create queues or instability. Part of crowd management is to facilitate or design beforehand crowd control measures. The proactive, preventive process of planning, designing, and organizing crowd movement to keep conditions safe and predictable. This is where we think in scenarios. What if arrivals peak early? Or what if a transport delay pushes everyone at once? Good planning is based on theory, simulations, and past experience. During the event, the focus shifts to real-time control. It becomes reactive and enforcement-oriented, based on live input from stewards and sensors. The goal is to restore safety quickly when normal conditions no longer hold. Crowd management is the blueprint. Crowd control is the emergency toolkit. Crowds don't behave like perfect models, as they consist of humans, including their behavior. People respond to congestion in unpredictable ways. Some slow down, others push through. Signage, staff presence, and the environment all influence behavior, but not always rationally. Understanding these human factors helps us design measures that work with people, not against them. Crowd management really comes down to 4 core principles, and each one shapes how we design and operate an event. The first is increasing throughput, making sure people can move efficiently through the space. Sometimes this means widening an entry lane, opening an extra gate, or removing a barrier that creates friction. A classic example is a festival entrance where bag checks slow down everything. Adding more staff or splitting the queue into bags and no bags lanes can dramatically increase throughput without changing the infrastructure. The second principle is preventing blockages between flows. Crowds behave like water. When 2 streams meet at the wrong angle, turbulence forms. Think of a train station where arriving passengers collide with people trying to board. Unless you separate the flows or stagger them, you get a standstill. Good design keeps flows from crossing in ways that create conflict. The third principle is distributing flows across available space. People naturally cluster in a familiar or visible area, even when plenty of space is available elsewhere. That's why signage, staff guidance, and environmental cues matter. For example, at a stadium exit, most spectators head for the main staircase, even though the side routes are empty. A well-placed steward or a simple "this way to exit" sign can redistribute thousands of people and reduce pressure on the main route. And finally, the fourth principle is reducing inflow when necessary. Sometimes the safest action is to slow down or temporarily stop people from entering a space that's reaching its limit. This could mean holding a queue upstream, pausing escalators, or coordinating with transport partners to delay arrivals. It's a principle that feels counterintuitive. Stopping people seems like creating a problem. But in reality, it prevents dangerous density from forming downstream. Together, these 4 principles form the backbone of crowd management. They are simple to state, but applying them in real time requires awareness, coordination, and a deep understanding of how people move and behave. Information is needed as input for crowd management system. Monitoring helps us understand what's happening right now. It acts as an early warning system, detecting deviations from expected patterns, a queue forming earlier than planned, a corridor filling faster than forecast, or early signs of turbulence. Monitoring updates our expectations so we can intervene before conditions deteriorate. Monitoring also supports decision-making. Decision thresholds and trigger points help operators know when to act, not too early, not too late. A good monitoring setup turns raw data into clear signals that guide timely interventions. Real-time forecasts help us look a few minutes into the future. By combining monitoring data with predictive models, we can anticipate where flows will increase, where densities will rise, and when peaks will occur. This gives crowd managers precious lead time to intervene proactively. And as live data comes in, forecasts adjust, correcting earlier assumptions. This leads us to the following takeaway messages on crowd management. Different types of crowds exist, each shaped by density, flow, and capacity. Crowd management is the planning of measures that keep people safe, while crowd control is the real-time response when things change. We have introduced 4 principles of crowd management. And throughout, monitoring and forecasting provide the information needed to make smart, timely decisions.